What's happening, YouTube inhabitants? And welcome to Real Talk Dan, channel where we discuss real things and I give you opinions that you never knew you needed. Now today we'll be discussing grind culture and how much of our free time and rest we're giving up to feed this already overfed capitalistic machine. We'll talk about what the grind is, why we do it, the dangers of burnout, and whether or not it's truly worth it. Chances are, it's not. Drop it. So, what is grind culture? And no, it has nothing to do with your last weekend in the club, if you're still going to clubs at this time. Grind culture is the basic mentality that your worth will always be tied to the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that you're willing to give to be considered a productive member of society. Basically, you have to always be hustling because you'll have plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. There is no off switch. If you're off for a second, then that's a missed opportunity or a disappointed employer. Grind culture is a bottomless pit. You bust your ass on a series of tasks that will never truly end. They tend to overlap in a staggered manner, so often you're working a bit of multiple tasks at the same time. This way, when one task is completed, you're still working on another task, and a new task swoops in to replace the previous task that you just finished. It's like a game of whack-a-mole, except these moles are annoying daily busy work. It's rinse and repeat every day. Employers help nudge this mentality along by creating quotas and arbitrary numbers that they want you to achieve. If you don't hit those numbers, they're not going to fire you, but they will send you a strongly worded email that starts with, "I hope this email finds you well." Well, this email finds me not in the mood for your bullshit, but please continue. And then there'll be some going forward language and possibly some veiled threats here and there. Or they'll subtly ding you on your yearly review and hit you with a slick list of performance goals that are just there to slightly increase your workload. If it wasn't for labor laws, these corporations would be much worse than they already are. There are unrealistic standards of productivity that you must achieve, or otherwise you underachieved. You closed 10 accounts? Why didn't you close 12? I need an email at the end of the day explaining why. See, it's pressure from every angle. And basically, you're neglecting your personal life and well-being to keep on producing. You are a human resource, and resources historically exist to be exploited. Now, I'll call myself out on this. I've had jobs where I worked remotely on days off, worked off hours, emailed my staff at 2:30 a.m., and got picked on for not sleeping. The jokes were not serious though. They respected my work ethic, and I used it as some kind of flex. Weird flex. Like the time that I should have been sleeping, I'm looking at spreadsheets and reports. And that's the reputation at work that I reveled in. I wanted people to acknowledge that. I would get in the office before my staff and still be there after they left, up to my eyeballs in reports that'll still be there tomorrow. And it doesn't help that I grew up the son of immigrants who know nothing but hard work, so that mentality was instilled in me from day one. And for people of color who tend to be disproportionately poorer, the grind is a necessity for survival. Your one low-wage job won't cover bills, so you have to work a second job, maybe even a third job. Rent is high, moratorium ain't lasting forever, bills don't just disappear, and that kid of yours still wants that PS5 that doesn't really have any games for it yet. You still have to get it. There's a stigma of laziness for people who don't give their last ounce of their soul to their jobs. If you rest, you're a lazy bum. The music you listen to beats this in your head as well. Hustle from sun up to sundown, then hustle some more. When's the last time you heard a rapper telling you to take a nap? Elon Musk once said, "Nobody ever changed the world by working 40 hours a week." And you buy into it because a billionaire said that. But he's a billionaire because of all the people under him putting in those 40 hours a week. You're not benefiting, he is. But keep posting his quotes in your Instagram stories. Many companies promote work-life balance, but don't live up to it. It's all lip service. How many times do you get shit for taking the time off that you earned as per the terms of your employment? Corporate propaganda will have you believe that your success is tied to this. They'll have you think that that $10 an hour job will still bring you riches if you work hard enough and you move up the corporate ladder. Only thing is, there are no rungs to climb. The dangled carrot has you chasing the American dream that is only designed for a few people to achieve. Your hustle only exists not to make you rich, but to make someone else rich. Doesn't mean to not put effort in your work, but remember who you're doing it for. Don't risk your long-term physical and mental health for it. There's no question that the body needs rest. I don't mean a couple of hours a night and then go back to hustling either. You can get away with that a couple of nights a week, especially in your 20s, but as you're getting older, you're placing immense levels of stress upon the body. Let's take a deep dive into what happens if you keep up that pace. First, let's talk about burnout. Burnout is the physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion brought to you by those very stresses I spoke of over a prolonged period of time. Being overworked and dealing with lack of rest are primary contributors to burnout. Burnout is a soul-sucking energy drain. You're out there trying to be productive, but it creates the opposite. Your motivation and your productivity dwindles. The quality of your work also suffers. Stress and burnout also make you susceptible to illness. With that rascally COVID still loitering, it can be pretty dangerous on the body. If you work jobs where you're forced to stand for your whole shift, there's effects on your legs, back, and nerves. Multiple studies show ill effects to include pain in your lower back through the muscles and bones, as well as on your legs, feet, and knees. You also run the risk of chronic venous insufficiency, which is when the veins in your legs do not properly allow blood flow back to the heart. You know that's a problem. I know people who've worked standing up their entire lives basically, and by the time they retired, their quality of life was adversely affected. Struggling to walk, sciatica flaring up, spending their golden years on canes and walkers. An article from the Springer Link website touches on a link between working long hours and cardiovascular disease. In particular, it touches on issues in Japan with karoshi, or death from overwork, and numerous studies that were subsequently published afterwards which further corroborated it. I'll of course share the link in the description. Mental health becomes a major issue as well. Many people who work long hours can fall into bouts of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Going postal, as dated as that is a phrase we joke about, but those actions are the results of people who are clearly mentally off. Were they always off, or has their mental health eroded? It's almost like finding CTE in just about any NFL player who did something egregious. The act of using and discarding human beings for profit is having real negative effects on said human beings. An article from racetothecure.org touches on several studies, which includes a questionnaire in China using the World Health Organization's Well-Being Index, where the individuals would rate their overall health. That slider would go from very poor to very healthy. The questionnaire also pooled information regarding the person's living, working conditions, work hours, hobbies, etc. It showed that people who worked longer hours scored lower on the scale. It also showed that people who had hobbies like, let's say, making YouTube videos, scored way higher than the people who didn't. The article also discusses another study in China which showed the correlation, or causation some would say, between burnout of physicians and medical errors. And we don't want a sleepy doctor poking and prodding, unless that's your thing, of course. So basically the mentality of I'll sleep when I'm dead will bring that sleep to you way sooner than you think. So take some time for you, rest, do some things you enjoy. Make sure you'll be around to enjoy the fruits of all that hard labor. So there we have it. Quick discussion on grind culture that I meant to bring you months ago. But guess what? Brother gotta rest too. Now this is a very opinionated topic, so feel free to go into the comments and tell me if you agree or disagree, if I'm just perpetuating laziness, or if I'm advocating for hardworking folks, which I hope I am. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, etc., etc., etc. Follow me on the social media platforms that I promise to use more often. Catch my sports channel. If sports are your thing, links in the description. Next up, I'll discuss men and mental health, and why a lot of y'all are deranged and don't even know it. Just y'all though, not me of course. So until then, remember to keep talking, real talking. Peace.